Biggest advantage about using Eldegoss in Pokemon Unite is that you can carry the top lane as a supporter. Hello and welcome back everyone, it's Unite Climbing and we're going to go through a top lane supporter focusing specifically on Eldegoss because I think in this most recent patch with a new item and the debuff to the Hooper, this is an absolute S tier Pokemon. So without wasting any time, let's get straight into Eldegoss. The first thing that you've got to make sure that you're getting right with Eldegoss is that top lane. You need to be putting the pressure on the enemies. There's a couple things you need to understand here. The first thing is his boosted basic will slow down the enemies. This is very, very important to know because you're going to punish them if they try and overcommit your goal zone. The second thing is you get a very nice AoE healing move, Synthesis, at level 3. This is going to be very helpful for keeping you and your laning partner alive when you're putting the pressure on the enemy. And the third thing is that you get Pollen Puff at level 4, which is the move that I would recommend using over Leaf Tornado, and that's another healing move. So at level 4, you've got 2 skills that can help heal you. So you need to understand this before we really get too much into how we're going to play this laning phase. Okay, so early on, what you want to do with Eldegoss is realize that the healing is very, very valuable. You want to make sure that you're with your teammate because you want to be healing them as well as yourself. Now, you want to obviously try and contest the farm and make sure you're securing the farm, but your job as Eldegoss is you are pressuring the enemy. You are A-pressing them, you're pestering them away from your team's farm, and when you're needing healing, you can get the healing. Because that's the one advantage you've got with the Eldegoss, right? You can force them back to their goal and contest their farm and heal in the duration of that. And if the enemy decide to overcommit after you've been A-pressing them, they're going to be on low health and you're going to be able to catch them out. And you can see that's exactly what happens with this Slowbro here. He just doesn't have the movement speed to get away because of those boosted autos. Now, fortunately, our jungler comes up, he comes in for the gank and we're able to get the healing and everyone gets their scores off and it's happy days, right? But this doesn't always happen. So that is your early game. You're A-pressing, 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 and you're making sure you're within the vicinity of your teammate to collect their farm and you're keeping them alive. The reason you want to be doing this is because you're going to force the enemy to overcommit, and when they overcommit, you're able to steamroll the enemy. Now, as you can see, our Talonflame's gone down, and I'm kind of having a look at what's happening on the map. The enemy jungler stayed down in that bottom lane, and he died. Now, I'm not wasting any time here. I can see that my Charmeleon is winning this top lane, so there's really no need to be a 2v1 when we're ahead there. What I'm looking to do as an Eldegoss is I'm going into the enemy farm. Now, I'm going to just flag this right now. This is not the correct play to do with an EXP share. However, my goal is to not try and steal their farm. My goal is to slow the enemy team down because our team is ahead. And I know I'm going to be able to get out alive because I've got 2 healing skills this early. I'm not level 6 yet, so I've still got those 2 healing skills. All I'm looking to do is slow the enemy team down. I'm just A-pressing them because the A-press it'll slow their movement speed down and you're able to kite them because you've got that range support, right? So as you can see, while I've been doing this, my team's been able to get a lot of farm, my jungler's been able to get a lot of value, and their jungler still doesn't have his farm. Now, let's say if you're in the Buzzwole shoes, what do you do here? The most correct play for you to do is to just take your buff because you've probably got the better secure over an Eldegoss. Now, I somehow managed to get the farm. I definitely shouldn't be getting the farm in that situation. And however, you can see that that's what you're able to do when you put yourself in that position. And you can see if I'm getting low, I'm just able to kite away. I Pollen Puff, I run into bushes. And now I've got Cotton Guard, which gives me a shield, which isn't as useful as Synthesis super early in the game, but it's very, very valuable for your team. So as you can see, I've stayed in the enemy jungle for like a minute. I've just slowed him down. He's level 7. And by this point, if our jungler's been doing his rotations properly, and if you need to look at a rotations guide, I've got one right here in the corner of the screen. If he's been doing his rotations right, what you're going to notice is that your team has a 2-level advantage and you're just going to be able to steamroll game. Now, I've actually saved the replay and gone over and post-editing to show you the difference in the levels. Our team had a 6-level lead before I've gone to invade. And as you can see, after I've invaded and really just pestered the enemy team, our top lane is still winning. Our jungler is miles and miles ahead. And as you can see, as we get a little bit closer, our team goes from a 6-level lead to a 9-level lead. And respectively, it is mostly our top laner and our jungler that's got the big difference. Now, what I'm not saying is go invade the enemy jungle every single game. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to understand the influence you can have by playing a supporter in SoloQ. These are the decisions that you can make as a supporter in SoloQ. You can understand that the character you're using puts on an immense amount of pressure onto the enemy team. You can understand that if you've got the healing and the follow-up and you are blessed enough to be laning with someone who understands that they can press with you, you are going to be able to absolutely steamroll games. You're going to be able to steamroll. Now, for the next 6 minutes, right, this is very, very important as a supporter. You're running an EXP share, you've done what you need to do for your team, which is help them get an experienced lead. The next most important thing when you're playing support is make sure that your team doesn't give back that experienced lead. So always look at the health bar of your teammates and make sure that they're feeling healthy, right? Make sure you're dropping the pollen puffs on them to help them get that HP back up. You're giving them shields and you're sticking with the good majority of your team. Don't follow one person if they go to back cap. Stay with your team in team fights and keep them alive, because now that you've got this experienced lead, you want to make sure that you're keeping it. Have a look at the decisions I'm making here. I could help my Talonflame and my Lucario defend their pad, even though the pad's going to give them shielding or healing. Or what I'm able to do is I actually help my Blastoise and my Charizard follow up, get this Reggie in, because as you can see that the enemy team was pushing the second, our bottom goal zone, right? So they decided to not defend against a Regieleki, which is a very, very weird decision. And that just allows us to go in, we're wreaking havoc in this top lane, we're just looking to try and break if we possibly can. I can see that the enemy team tries to dive on the Blastoise, and that's all I'm doing. I drop my Unite move to try and make sure that he doesn't die. That's where the value comes in there. I'll try and score 2 points, not really for the score, but to try and get my Unite move charged back a little bit quicker. You know, they would have stopped me there, and I'm not inting for that, right? I'm not letting them kill me. What I'm making sure that I'm doing is I'm keeping my teammates alive. Now, the second thing I want to point out here is at the 5-minute mark, this is when the enemy get their jump pad, and that's when they can easily defend their second tier goal zone. Have a look at the score difference. Our team has 350 points scored, and the enemy team has 45. We have more than 300 points score lead in the first 5 minutes of the game. Now, if you're playing competitively here, this game is completely over. There's no way that the enemy team can come back unless if you make some very serious mistakes. This is even more true in SoloQ. Now, this is the number one thing I hear people say all the time whenever they're playing in SoloQ is, oh, my teammates suck, my teammates keep dying, my teammates do this. Well, this is my solution for you guys. This is it right here. You're 300 points ahead. Don't let your teammates die. Use a supporter, guys. Keep them alive. Keep your team alive. Have a look at their immense value. The Charizard's able to stay in the fight, right? I'm getting the Pollen Puffs on the AoE healing with the Blastoise and the Charizard. I've got the Cotton Guards. You can see that our team is able to stay alive and they're not able to push our goal zone. We maintain our 300 point score lead. Look at the Talonflame. Tries to get a sneaky 40 score bottom, but he ends up dying. You can't help him there. But at least that decision from the Talonflame does not allow their team to get a huge amount of score back, right? What we're able to do, right? If we don't have the healer here, I'm dying here, right? I've sacrificed myself to make sure that my teammates stay alive. As you can see, they've had to overcommit so much, and we've kept them healthy enough with the healing while they're pushing forward. Their team's constantly pushing forward without the healer. Our team has the healer, so when they push forward enough, guess what? We're able to clean them up. We get the big kills, we get the objectives, and we're able to just continue and stay in their farm and stay in their map. So this is my number one thing, guys. You've got to make sure that you've got to be the solution to the problem that you want to hear, right? You've got to be the solution. Now, as we approach for this Ray fight, have a look at what happens here. They've got 3 of their teammates pushing on our top goal zone with about 15 seconds before the Rayquaza. Do I think this is probably the most correct thing to do? Probably not, right? But as you can see, I popped my Unite move to keep my teammates alive because I recognize that we got 1 kill and we're probably going to be able to steamroll there. What I'm doing is I'm keeping my Blastoise alive. We're forcing their Buzzwole to pretty much die here, and by the time he gets KO'd, look at how many of their teammates are dead. Now I'm going to rewind here and take this third-person opportunity to put the value on staying with your team at the Ray fight. Guys, have a look at the positioning of my enemy team. The Pikachu and the Umbreon are playing by themselves. They're playing by themselves. While the other team, the other 3 try and push the goal zone. That is a very, very silly idea, and that just puts their team in an almost unwinnable position. Have a look at the 88 points that the Pikachu scored. It's really worth nothing, right? Because our Talonflame's able to equalize that back cap while he's going there, and there's a big fight breaking out in the middle after we've killed a whole bunch of them. Guys, if you are behind in Pokemon Unite at the Rayquaza, this is absolute evidence. This is me playing on the winning team, looking at the enemy team saying the main reason why we're able to close out this game as easily as we did is because the enemy team played poorly. And this is very, very important to recognize. enemy team did not play as well as they probably should have. They were split up, they tried to backcap, and their tank was not with them at that final fight. And have a look at the final play there from the Blastoise, surfing them into the wall, gets them caught. Absolutely huge play. And guys, when you've got this much of a score lead, you do not need to do the Rayquaza. You don't need to touch it. The game is pretty much over from this point. Right, once we've got killed 2 or 3 of them, then you can decide to rip Rayquaza because you've got such a big score lead. Even if the team was able to steal the Rayquaza, the shield only goes on the people who are left alive, which would have been one of the teammates or just maybe 2 of them if the Pikachu got the score. Even if they both go up and score, we still get the win. This is very, very important, guys. Take that as an opportunity. Take this as a learning curve. If you are behind in score, you must be with your team at that Rayquaza. You cannot go and play by yourself. And guys, also take it for the case of if you're that Buzzwole on the top lane on the enemy team, you cannot be looking to score and make a play like that on the first tier without your entire team. You've got to play passive and you've got to wait for them. Guys, I hope you got some value out of this supporter guide video specifically aimed on using Eldegoss. If you did, drop a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I kind of missed, because I love pinning a comment and telling everyone, hey, we missed this. Make sure you get some value out of that. Have a wonderful day and good luck on that solo queue.